Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Investing Bros. It is June 15th. It is Thursday. Man, I want to say we have a great show lined up, and it's going to be very informal. It's going to be a good one. However, it's not going to be as fun to produce, of course, when you have things like what happened yesterday happen. It's not as fun of a show talking about the bearish stuff as is the bullish stuff, but we do want to unpack it. Technically speaking, hope is not lost for crypto and for Bitcoin, but some big things happened yesterday that were not expected, and we're going to break that all down for you. Starting off with, and we're going to talk about this on the charts as well, but I want to kind of get this out of the way early. I have told you guys that have been watching this channel for a long time that my level that I've been watching and I've been remaining bullish is 25,200. Technically speaking, if a wick goes below it, that's not the biggest deal, but candle body closes below 25.2. That is when I would shift from being bullish to at least being pessimistic, if not bearish as well. Well, I'm going to be a man of my word. Show me other channels that are like that. When my level got hit and it got taken out, I am sitting here right now, guys, questioning what the future looks like. I've been away from $50,000 Bitcoin prediction for the rest of this year for a while, but after this move, I'm now in the boat of saying I don't know if Bitcoin's going to see above 30K the rest of this year. And that is because that level 25,200 got taken out. We're going to unpack more of that later, but I wanted to start by saying that because when we get things wrong on this channel, we're not going to hide from it. We're not going to try to deny it. We're not going to dig our feet in the sand and try to defend our positions. We're going to be open. We're going to be honest. We're going to tell you guys, all right, we got that one wrong. We're going to move forward and adjust what we're doing because that's what investment is all about. You're never going to get 100% of your calls correct. It is all about dealing with all the information you can as honestly as you can with yourself and with others and moving forward in a like-mannered fashion. And that's exactly what we're doing here for Investing Bros. I am joined by Army Piper this morning from Texas. Piper, rough day yesterday. How are you doing?
Brother, I've been better.
Yeah.
The pain of looking at the portfolio and the charts is a little disheartening, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw in the chat. I said I sold everything. That is a mostly true statement. I sold all of my alts except for Ethereum, and I put it all into Bitcoin at these levels because if it's going to bleed off, I'm going to have it bleed off at a much smaller rate for now.
Yeah.
And I am prepping that Bitcoin into long positions at a 3x leverage so that I can make up all of the loss that I had from my 26% down on Polygon Matic and so on and so forth. So yeah, that is my strategy right now. So I had to fall back. I had to look at everything and reassess the situation, come up with a new fight plan, and now I'm in a fixed position. So that's it.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like you got to make your calls, you got to stick with what you got, and then when stuff comes in and changes it, you got to be ready to pivot and make some
Yep.
other decisions. We're
Yeah,
gonna light it up here.
that's not financial advice though. That's not
No.
financial advice. That's what I did.
Yeah.
I'm not telling
Yep.
anyone to do that.
Yep.
So
You guys, everyone's got to decide for themselves what they want to do. I didn't sell everything. I sold out of some of my longs on Bitcoin, but I still have my hodl bags. We're gonna change it up here though for a second, Piper. We're gonna get a little lighthearted here because it is time for the quote of the day, and you guys know we're doing nothing but the office quotes. This one is brought to us today with the concept of what the government, I think, is always kind of thinking about us. Would I rather be loved or feared? Easy. Both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me. I think that's pretty accurate statement for most of our U.S. government and how they feel about what they want people to think. What are your thoughts about this one, Piper?
Um, it's a good quote. I would rather be loved. What I love, rather be loved or feared. Easy. I would rather be feared. I mean,
I'd
I
rather
love it.
people be
I
afraid.
think that
Yeah.
it's a great. You know these quotes that you bring to the table. I have to tell you, they really make you think about the word salad that he's using there. So it's pretty good.
You,
It's pretty good.
you know what's
I
crazy is
enjoy
because
it.
every single morning I'm looking these up. I'm literally just typing into Google. I'm like Michael Scott quotes from The Office, right? And he has so many good ones. I might have to do some deeper research for some because every morning it has like 10 of them. They want to just always say those ones, but there's some deep ones. Those who watch The Office, you guys know every single episode is just a gold mine from Michael Scott. on his quotes, but we'll have some more fun ones coming your guys' way. We're going to keep it lighthearted for just a second before we move into more serious stuff. Speaking of our community, though, that is awesome. We got some fun stuff happening this morning. So anyone who might be new, if you're new here, welcome to the Investing Bros. We go live every single weekday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And one of our things we do, we have a quote of the day every day, and we read the names of people in chat. But today we have something special, and it's coming your way via our first commenter, Mr. Elo Brown, who woke up this morning with violence on his mind, and he had one target. Mr. Amello Fellow. Anyone who can see that top comment, it might be blocked because of the poll, but I want to fill you guys in. He literally came in, got the first comment, and said, "Good morning, Amello Fellow." That's rough.
That's
That's
gangster.
rough. That is the disrespect is very high level. I love it. I love it so much. Amello Fellow is definitely going to have some things to think about the rest of the day. But what's maybe made it even more gangster. So here's the rough. If a Mellow Fellow like didn't show up today, or if he was like the fourth comment, that's something. The fact that a Mellow Fellow was the second commenter, and the first comment was "Good morning, a Mellow Fellow." Elo Brown could not have planned this any better if he had tried. It
That
was
was
the
the
perfect storm.
that was the YouTube chat equivalent of flipping a bottle up in the air behind your head
Yeah.
onto a table and it landing straight up. Like it was beautiful.
Yeah, a Mellow Fellow just commented. He said, "I'm coming with a vengeance." We're gonna see this. It's guys. If for nothing else, you guys need to be watching this show every single morning to watch this new rivalry between Elo Brown and a Mellow Fellow. Things
YouTube live
just
chat wars of
got interesting.
2023.
It's got interesting. Elo Brown's trying to backtrack now, saying all love for my homie. I'll listen, man. Like words. I see.
Now,
I see
Tim, you know as well as I do that our community is very tight and they all love each other. It's all good
They
fun.
do. We're just joking. This is all fun. It wouldn't be this intense if we didn't all love each other. All right, let's keep going on here though. Number 3 coming in here. Crypto Pew Pew Cruise. Someone commented later. Crypto Pew Pew Cruise locks down that number 3 spot. He just wants the medal. He just wants to be on the podium. You know, I think he has been first before, but this is a man that he ranks every single day. His consistency is unmatched. Ninja Glock is also here. Crypto Trades is here. Who else do we have? Fun morning this morning. Crux of Crypto saying good morning. Let's see who else. Eric Wallen is here. Mike Play. Army Piper's in the chat. Let's see who else do we have. Crypto Military Vet. Mr. J is here. Joe Nickel is here. Crypto JMP. Who else? Crypto Alchemist is here. Justin Eubanks. More. Here we go. OBC 88 Ace. Nancy Croy is here. Wasn't sure. Yeah, message retracted. Nancy Croy made a statement. I wasn't sure what it was though. Was confused by it.
She
I
corrected
saw
it.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
just Oba
or something.
Yeah. All right. We might reference that later.
Yeah, you
Troy
look,
King
I'll
is
find
here.
it.
Yeah, Troy King is here. Brian D is here. Philly Skills 1428 is here. Lex Caliber is here. Nice. That's a
That's
good name.
Lex G from over there in Chart Prime.
There we go. Austin Patrick is here. Crypto Set Guy is here. Indie Rock Crypto. Donovan. Crimson Caravan Company. We'll get a couple more here and then we'll move forward. Puddles is here. The Kid Co MN. That's Colorado and Minnesota. Bedridden is here with the Blue Wrench. And Diamond Sauce. Oh, got a last one. Got another mod in here. Shannon Sharp. And I said last one multiple times there. Alex Rod as well. Guys, if I did not read your name, I'm so sorry. It's not because I don't love you. It is just time to go ahead and jump into the show. And we've got a whole lot to unpack. Today's show is going to be a little bit different like it normally is. I mean, does this show ever have the same flow exactly 100%? No. If it did, it would be boring. Today, we're going to still have our technical analysis, still have stuff, but we're going to be looking at a couple different stories and in different ways than we normally do. Piper, go ahead and start us off with our economic outlook. Obviously, yesterday was huge. Very big coming after that FOMC meeting. But is there anything else we're looking forward to, or is a lot of the big stuff behind us?
So we still got more coming, Tim.
Okay, here we go.
Retail sales month over month came in this morning. That was the big one. Was expected to be down 0.1% on consensus. Expected to be up 0.2% on forecast. Was actually up 0.3%. For those that don't understand what that means that demand is coming up a little bit. So kind of odd. We'll see, because supply and demand, that's inflation numbers. That's where that comes from. So retail sales coming up a little higher than expected. Nothing really else big here today. But what we're looking at is the Michigan consumer sentiment, which will give the how people feel about buying things, right? Do they feel that the economy's weak, strong, so on and so forth? But it's not going to be next week. We actually have next Thursday is Fed Chairman Jerome Powell's testimony. So I'll be curious to see what he says there, because he put out some interesting stuff yesterday when he was talking about it. But the next big one is going to be, and I got to find it here. Here we go. PCE, which is the biggest factor that they look at for rate hikes, is going to be on June 30th. So we're going to close out the end of the month with options closing, because the futures close on the last day of the month. So that's going to be closing out at the same time that we have PCE coming out. I'm expecting June 30th to be pretty volatile. So let's go jump over to Trueflation. Trueflation down over 0.2% to 2.34%. U.S. Fed Gov, as of our newest rate, is at 4%. So that's what we're seeing there. And then, guys, not as bad as I thought it would be. If you guys remember right, a couple weeks ago, I showed you this, and I showed you that we had $300 million in liquidations in a 24-hour period. We only, and I say only lightly, had 162.6 million in the last 24 hours. So not as bad as what we've seen previously on liquidation lines. Biggest one now, OKX running the biggest amount of liquidations in the past 24 hours. 84% of those being longs. So a lot of longs were liquidated. You see here, guys, normally Bitcoin's the big one. It's Ethereum. Ethereum's the one that got hit the hardest for $55.6 million in liquidated long, $60 million total, compared to Bitcoin's 46.42. So a lot more people were very bullish on Ethereum than Bitcoin, and the liquidations have played them out. By the way, my longs are still open. I have just added more into my position, as I was showing yesterday on TA Talk over on the Chart Prime Discord, that I had layered entries to DCA my entry down with very small micro entry positions. So still in those longs. I am not fully bearish yet, Tim.
There we go. All right. Do we have that's all we got for the economic? It's time for our CME futures tool, isn't it? Boom. All right, we're gonna go with it. Yes. I don't know if you're muted right there. All right, here we go, guys. So new month.
Time for
we are
futures.
now.
I was muted.
You're good. June is behind us. It was a pause. We're going to unpack more of this in the headline section, guys. But starting off just by looking at this prediction, there is some inconsistencies. And we're going to talk more about what Jerome Powell said yesterday briefly during headlines, because there's actually other stories that are even bigger. But right now, we're seeing a 71% prediction that we will get another rate hike here up to 525 to 550. Technically speaking, 28% are still saying we might see another pause. Although if you believe Jerome Powell, and there goes my mouse freaking out again. If you believe Jerome Powell, this is just the beginning. There's actually a prediction more than likely we'll get 2 more rate hikes, which is pretty ridiculous here. And I kind of scroll through here. We'll have a pause in August. They're expecting a pause in September, another pause in November, and I believe at this point it is predicting we'll have another pause in December, but that would be ending the year at 525 to 550. I'll go ahead and just spoil it here. I mean, there's no point in holding off on it. We'll talk about it again for anyone who joins us later. But we just got an update from Jerome Powell that now the Fed is thinking that they want to get rates to about 5.6, which means 550 to 575 would be the expectation here. CME Futures is calling cap at the moment. They're saying that Jerome Powell is full of it. But things can get updated very, very quickly on that one. We'll unpack more of those details a little bit later, though. When it comes to Bitcoin Fear and Green Index, we are now squarely in fear. I mean, still close to neutral, but sitting at 41. And unless we see some sort of rally, come on, mouse, what are you doing? Oh, that freak out. Unless we see something change, And we get a rally today, popping us back over 25,200 and start making a push back up 26. I expect this fear and greed index to continue to go to the downside. And that actually could legitimately be a good thing long term. But speaking of Bitcoin price, let's go ahead and go over here. I want to start off by, there's a couple things we're going to be looking at here today. We're going to look at Bitcoin. We're going to look at Cardano. First of all, special shout out to Chart Prime. You guys know we love them. Partner of the channel. Wouldn't be here without them. Phenomenal indicators coming that they've built already, that they're coming out more with, and these have just been absolutely lethal at helping us, even when we don't want them to be ringing the way they are. I mean, you guys can see this oscillator has been amazing. Didn't want it to work, but it has been working like a charm here. Now, the good news is we are getting some oversold signals flashing. The question is, will those be ignored due to bearish pressure, or will those hold up? We'll kind of break all of that down and more. Here's what I want to start off by saying, though. I told you guys in the intro, we're going to kind of reiterate it right here. I want to make sure I keep my eyes on YouTube tab. Let me know, Piper, if for some reason anyone asks any good questions I can respond to while we're doing TA here. This $25,200 level. The $25,200 level, of course, goes all the way back to August of 2022. It has been resistance. It came into resistance back here in February this year when we were making a push. Was very briefly resistance again in March, but then we were able to break through it. My expectation was that we were going to hold, and you guys can see we actually were holding up pretty nicely. What ended up happening, though, is yesterday, with all of that information coming out, most of it I actually think sparked by the Jerome Powell responses during the press conference, we did see it break through. And when you're looking on the daily chart, you're not going to see a whole lot of volume here, but it's when you start coming down here, 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's go down even all the way to the 10-minute chart here. Look, this is exactly what I talked about, guys, before. And I just didn't think it was going to happen. The volume that it took to break that level had to peak. I told you guys that in and of themselves, the bears had run out of steam. They needed some fresh power. And sure enough, look at the spike in volume comparatively to almost everything else we have seen for a while here. We got a massive spike in volume to push through that level. And this is not a good sign, guys, because now that we are below it, yes, when we come back out to the daily chart, you guys are going to see that red line. We are bouncing off of that red line, which technically, with this red level of support and this purple level of resistance, it's forming a little bit of a falling wedge pattern, which is traditionally bullish. You know, gotta look on the positives. I keep those silver linings to the clouds available, but the fact that we're underneath this 25.2, do not be surprised, guys, to see us come up and retest it as resistance, which is also a very negative thing. You guys know we've talked about that before. Anytime you break a support or resistance level and then turn it into the opposite, in this case, a support level that you turn into resistance, that is a very, very, very bearish move and could move us to the downside. The question at this point, though, guys, is what is going to happen? I will start by saying, as much as I have shifted now, I told you guys 25.2 was my level, and I have shifted from being bullish to kind of more, I'm in the middle right now. I'm not necessarily full-blown bearish. I still see us squarely setting up higher lows, so that's a bullish sign. I still think the bottom is in on Bitcoin. I asked you guys in the chart. We're looking right now. The chat's kind of saying 50-50 is the bottom in for Bitcoin or not. I still don't think we're coming down to a $15,000 Bitcoin price. However, do we match this bottom that we just had here a couple of months ago in March? Do we come back down and fill that CME gap? Let's see, which one is it? This chart right here. You guys can see we have the CME futures gap right here, all the way down here towards $20,000. I actually, guys, I think there's a decent chance that that's exactly what ends up happening. I've seen a lot of people actually even talk about potentially the rest of this year ranging back between 20,000 and 30,000. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, that's actually a very interesting prediction that more than likely I think could be the most realistic expectation for the rest of this year for Bitcoin price. Yes, let me go back to it real quick. Sorry, guys. There is a gap above us at 36,000. But I'm starting to think we're going to definitely have to be waiting for 2024 for that to happen, unless Bitcoin makes a little bit of a fake out move right here. Like that's kind of my last hope I'm looking at here. Because from a chart perspective, we've broken this on the daily candle. We have closed below this 25.2. Is this a fake out? Is this a bear trap? That is what is going to have to happen for me to regain my bullish momentum and my bullish thoughts, I think there's a decent chance as we broke this 25.2 that we're looking at lower levels. Falling wedge, keep an eye on it. But I think coming down and testing a couple different lines here, and we're going to keep moving on. This green line, I changed it to green just for clarity because I'm going to be pulling up our SMAs here in just a second. But this, of course, is a range we've been kind of testing here as we're moving up, setting higher highs, higher lows. I think within the next couple of days, we're going to see a lower level, 24.6, somewhere in that range, touch this green line. The other one to definitely keep an eye on, and someone in chat pointed this out, but watch that blue line right there, which is our 200 daily SMA. That's the simple moving average. That's another one. Kind of similar ranges, not quite the exact same as that green line, but don't be surprised to see that touched as well. If we were to lose those levels, however, this is where we're starting to get into. You guys remember everyone talking about the head and shoulders pattern. We had the left shoulder, the head, and then the right shoulder. Well, that gives us a prediction down towards 23,000. Let's take a look at let's see here. Let's take a look first of all at Fibonacci. I'm going to start off with the March levels, and then we'll keep on moving. Might even go to the deeper levels. Let's take a look right here. Golden pocket sitting down here right below 24,000. I guess technically this one doesn't give it to us. Let's go back all the way to the bottom so far, the $15,500 bottom we had. Let's see, right here. This is it, the 0.5 level from bottom to where the top was at 31,000. We got the 0.5 level sitting right here around 23,300, give or take. Then you pull out our fixed range volume profile. Let's go back all the way to the beginning of Q1 of this year, January 1st. There we go, spreading it out. Let's take a look at what we have down here. We do have our point of control sitting right at that same level at 23,000. So I'm looking at this little range right here. Again, is there support between us and that range? Yeah, there is. But that box right there, the 0.5 of Fibonacci, the point of control of our fixed range volume profile, guys, that's a juicy little space. And then you combine it with the fact, let me get rid of all of this. Let's go back here. As I mentioned, let me turn off this as well, just so I have as little things as possible on here. When you look at this head and shoulders pattern, we have our neckline forming right about, let's see, there's been a lot of mess that happened right there, but we're going to go about right here. We're going to go to our neckline right here, take our head down to the neckline and give this a breakout prediction. This gives us a prediction right here. When the official breakout happened, boom, down. It says about 22,760. Kind of can throw it into that box range because we have that little magnet kind of pulling us right there. That's kind of a trifecta right there of bearish TA guys saying that 23,000 is looking like a juicy little spot for some support below us. Look at that. We tick back up. We just touched back above 25,000. But again, I told you guys, watch for a rejection at 25.2 is going to be the problem that I'm seeing for a Bitcoin. Last thing I want to do, let's look at market dynamics here. We also have an order block here on the daily chart all the way down at 20,000. We talked about that. That's also where that CME gap is. So another thing to keep your eyes on. If we go lower here, I bet you we're going to have a order block somewhere in this range here at 23 as well. Although I'm not seeing anything. Not that bad. Let's go look multi-time frame here as well. Go into settings. Let me see. I'm going to turn off my predictive ranges. I want to turn on these. Let's go local mode here. And I should have my 4-hour, my 12-hour, and my daily. Let's see what we have going on with our multi-time frame. Oh, this is all updated, so these lines are going to be all over the place. We're below a lot, but there's also some. Okay, here we go. Yeah, more of the confirmation of that 20,000. Yes, we have some even lower at 18,000, but I'm looking right here at this little pocket, this little zone right here. 20,000 is another thing that's kind of pulling, asking, screaming for Bitcoin price to make it all the way down there. So keep your eyes on that. Again, is it over, guys? Is it officially over? Is Bitcoin just screwed? Is it impossible to make it to 36, 42,000 the rest of this year? Impossible is not the right word, but unlikely is the one I'm going to go with at this point in time. I am seeing price action to the downside being the most realistic expectation. Now, something to keep your eye on. Now, this is where we're kind of getting into it, is Bitcoin's going to fall. But how far alt's going to fall? Let's take a look over here, guys, at the Bitcoin dominance chart. Another thing we got to be keeping our eyes on. I don't know how many people saw this yesterday. We didn't talk about it on this show. I know Ben discussed it on his show yesterday. That prediction from Michael Saylor saying that Bitcoin is going to get to 80% dominance. That's way up here. Let's scroll out. Gotta go way out to see where in the last time we were at 80% dominance. That would excuse me, 80% dominance. We have not been at 80% dominance since back in 2017. I'm going to start off by saying, Michael Saylor, I don't know where you're getting that from. I don't know why. What are you pulling 80 at? Like, if he had said 73 and he's saying matching back what we had in December of 2020, I'd be like, all right, that kind of makes sense. I don't know why he pulled 80%, but even 73, guys, I think that's a little rich. I absolutely, at this point, think that Bitcoin is going to be climbing over 50%. You guys can just look at the economic data. You can look at, we're going to cover a story here later. I'll flash it for you, though. BlackRock and Fidelity making massive moves, bullish moves on Bitcoin. I think there's a decent chance that we're going to be climbing. I said the other day, 55 is kind of high for me. Guys, I might push it up towards 60. I might even push it, maybe 60, 57, maybe push it back up here towards this little former support level back in September of 2020. Maybe we push towards 60, but I do think dominance is going to the upside. And that is because, guys, as much as Bitcoin, I still believe the bottom is in for Bitcoin. When it comes to altcoins, I'm not as certain. And we're going to talk about Cardano, especially the coins, guys, that were listed in that Binance lawsuit. Do we know that everything that they were accused of is stupid? Do we know that Cardano has never done anything that should make it as a security? Absolutely, we know that. That doesn't mean, though, that it's not going to be the narrative that the SEC pushes and that, unfortunately, a lot of people follow suit with. And things could get very ugly here, guys. If Bitcoin's going down, you know that altcoins are going to bleed against there. There's a reason why, again, not financial advice, but Piper's decision to get out of almost everything except for Bitcoin and Ethereum is not the dumbest idea in the world, because that's what a lot of people are going to be doing. At the moment, it did not come down here and touch its 21 cent price that we had just a couple of days ago here for Cardano. However, we are back down. We're kind of in the red here. Keep your eyes on what could be happening with this range. Let's look at a couple of different things. You're going to see a lot of bullish nature. This isn't going to happen immediately, guys. I think almost everything can get a little short relief bounce, or at least kind of go sideways for a little bit, and then watch the RSI, the chart prime oscillator. Look at everything. The bands just start to move to the upside as they replenish themselves for a fresh move to the downside. But when it comes to Cardano, guys, I'm sitting here saying things should get pretty ugly. To kind of get a view of this, because we're really close to where the bottom of this whole bear market has been. Let's go to the log chart and let's scroll out and go to the last couple of seasons here, going all the way back here. I'm not predicting that we go back and match bottoms back in 2020, right? I'm not saying we're going to come back down here to less than 2 cents on Cardano, but I think some things are going to be interesting to watch here when we look at previous price action on Cardano. We'll pull up some other indicators here as well, but let's look at, there's a scan wick back here on Kraken that fell all the way to about 15 cents. That one looks interesting. We have a little peak back here in November of 2020 as we were starting that bull market, but we kind of got rejected there for a second at about 18 cents. These are levels I'm definitely keeping my eyes on here for Cardano. Yeah, technically, could 20 cents, could 21 cents hold up? Maybe, but there's a lot of things kind of pushing us to this region. Let's even take a look right here. Let's go back all the way to the bottom of Cardano's price this last bear market. We got a point of control here at 14. Let's just call it 15 cents. We have a valley sitting right here about 20. Bottom of this, okay, I don't know why that did that. Reload for me here. There we go. Bottom of this valley is somewhere between 20 cents and 21. That's kind of where we got that wick coming from here just a couple of days ago. Is there, again, let's talk about it this way. Is there a chance that Cardano's bottom is in and we will not go below 21 cents? Absolutely, there's a chance. But likelihood, I just don't see it, guys. I'm looking 15 to 18 cents is where I am looking at right now to get my new Cardano buy spots. Let's take a look at here with chart prime indicators here as well. That's not going to tell us that much. I'm going to go ahead and take that one down. Let's take a look at our local. See, this is the only bullish thing we do have going on here is that we haven't. I got to change all this out to macro here for a second, guys. Let's go, because local mode is not going to give me that one. Let's go out to macro on all of these and take a look at what it is saying. Boom. All right, here we go. So macro gets even worse. It comes all the way down here towards 11, 12 cents. Not quite what I'm looking at there. Let's change this up just a little bit. Let's go to midterm and see what it is saying as well. Just trying to look for some support and resistance levels. Here we go. Here's one down here, 18 cents. This is the one. What that green line? What am I looking at? Probably the 4 hour. That's probably the 4 hour strongest support level sitting right there at 18 cents. So kind of a range here, guys.
That's a daily.
That's the daily. Okay, did it say daily?
Yep.
Oh yeah, one daily.
Yep.
There
It
you go.
does.
Daily chart right there.
Uh,
I'm gonna make a box right here, guys. This is gonna be my box. I'm kind of watching. Yes, it's kind of a
good
fat
call.
box between 14 cents and 18 cents, but at this point, with where we just are, again, does this mean I don't like Cardano? Does this mean I think Cardano's worthless? No, it does not. It just means that based off of what I'm seeing in the news, based off of what I'm seeing in the charts, I think there's a decent chance that price gets suppressed down to these levels. Which the good side of this, guys, is I know we have to be a little more patient, but there's a very good chance that you could be buying some very cheap Cardano because this does not change peak bull market price predictions for Cardano sitting between $7 and $12. Probably at this point leaning more towards that 7, but still, you can buy Cardano for 18 cents and then potentially take some profit at $7. I'm not a quick mathematician, but that's a lot of green right there. Piper, I just went on a lot here talking about Bitcoin and Cardano. I know you have some more. You're talking about Ethereum.
Yeah, there's a
Ethereum's another
couple of
one.
questions. We got a
Yep.
couple
Oh,
of
we do.
questions
Okay,
in the chat.
let's do it.
Greg Greziak, he said 15.5K BTC in play again? Question mark.
In play is a funny word, Greg. Is everything's in play technically at all times. It's the word I'm going to go with at this point is likely. It's 15.5 likely on Bitcoin, and for now, my answer remains no. I think 20,000 is. I think it's one of these things. Like if we lose 19.6, that's when I would say 15.5 is in play for a double bottom. And then you're even talking about news. I still think based off of everything happening here, guys, let's just even put our brains kind of let's put our brains on all everything's developing. Bitcoin is not the target of regulators. Bitcoin is not the target of the government, except for, save Elizabeth Warren. The real pressure is on cryptocurrency, and it's actually creating a wave for Bitcoin maxis to kind of rear their heads and get loud here. Bitcoin, I don't believe we're going to get this massive pump up the rest of this year either, but I believe it's pretty safe. I think it's going to be seen as a safe place as we're seeing the FUD against the dollar, and it's legitimate FUD, as we're seeing countries and other institutions continue to come out against the dollar, which, speaking of, we didn't even talk about, but all this stuff happening yesterday, it's not like the dollar had a good day. The dollar is down as well. It's just the negativity that Jerome Powell spoke about that affected crypto is bringing both the dollar and crypto down here as well. I think Bitcoin's going to hold up pretty nicely here. And again, 20,000, a touch to 20,000. Yeah, I think that's in the cards. That's in play. 15.5 for me, not yet.
And then Crypto Seth, shout out to Crypto Seth over there with Crypto Gem Hunters. By the way, I'm on Crypto Gem Hunters this morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be over there with them. But he asked a question. Some people believe we could see alts retrace 80%. Is that probable?
80%.
I don't know that I would say probable. I would say it's possible, depending on what comes out. But I would not say probable.
Yeah, that probable is the wrong word there for sure. Let's go 80. What would an 80% retracement be? 5 cents for Cardano. What would that be for Matic? Or according to Jim Cramer, Matic. This would be at 80% from where we currently are. Would be down towards 11 cents. No, no. 80% no. But new lows, yeah, like I even Matic, I probably shouldn't.
What about Carbanzo?
30, I think we could dip like so 50% on some of these maybe. What's going on? Yeah, I don't think Cardano's going to 50. Matic maybe 50%. Cardano, maybe a good another 30 to 40%. But 80%, that's a little rich for me at this point. We'll keep you posted on that. That changes.
Awesome. I'm going to jump over to Ethereum and take a run on it.
Let's do it.
All right. So, guys, taking a look at Ethereum over here. I'm actually looking at the 3-day because when we're where we are right now, I want to look at the bigger picture. I could get in there on the 4-hour and show you some stuff, and I might do that. But what I want to show you is that right now, this white line is the 200-day moving average. And Ethereum is literally sitting on its 200 moving average right now. Also, we did just break down below the 382 on the fib here. And we're hitting a trend assist. This trend assist is from the Chart Prime's Oracle. Okay. So what I'm watching here is, and what I'm seeing is we have this order block coming in right here at the golden pocket. Do I think that we're going to go down and catch that? If we did, fantastic. I'll buy some more, but I don't know that we got some good support right now on the 3-day. Where it comes into a little bit of a scary thought here is when I look at the oscillators, and you can see the money flow is still coming down, trend is coming down, but we're almost into that bullish zone on the Pro Oscillator Pros. So I think right now, bearish to bullish, I feel about 50-50 on Ethereum on a 3-day. But if we go over here, we pull up the daily, guys, and I want to show you these fixed ranges. Right now, we did lose our value area low here. That's this purple line right here running across. So we did lose that, came down, like, again, there's the 200-day moving average. But if you take a look at this previous fixed range that we have here, which is where we're about to come and play, is this previous price action that we had here. You can see this dash red line right here. That is the point of control for that previous range. It's coinciding right where we are right now. So between this previous range point of control for all of the volume that took place there at buying and selling, with the 200, I feel pretty good about where Ethereum is right now. I could see us coming down to this breaker block and testing the 50% line, which is where my entries actually go down to, is the $1,500 mark on Ethereum for longs. But that's what I'm seeing there right now. On the daily, we do really look like we're just out of the free fall range for the time being. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with ETH there, but that's what I'm watching, guys. We did have this 4-hour flag here on ETH that I was talking about on Sin City Crypto the other day. And well, I never got to the Ethereum part, but I had this pulled up ready to go. This is literally what we broke here yesterday. So um it's neither here nor there, but I think we're sitting at good support on ETH, guys. Let's go ahead and pull up XRP, because I know everyone wants to know what's going on with XRP. So I told you guys that we had that rejection. If you go, I went ahead and revamped this on the daily for XRP so that I could show you this. Here we go. I went from the low to the high on my fibs here to the low. I've actually grabbed the wrong high. Let's go ahead and fix that. I hate when I have the wrong high. All right, there we go. Hitting right now on the 382, guys, for XRP on the daily. We did catch a lot of support on MATS. For those that don't know, it's a moving average with a whole lot more math in it than a moving average. And it has a trend and back testing of the trend movements, their momentum. So this blue line right here coming up, that is MATS. It's absolutely free. MATS. You can just go in, type in MATS, and you pull it up. It's a free indicator put out by our amazing developers over at Chart Prime. But that is where we got our bounce at, is on that trend sniper there. Almost coming down to the dynamic reactor. We do have an order block sitting right below us here at 45. I'm thinking that we hold this 45 to 44 range right here for support. And if we end up losing that, watch for this breaker block coming in with the 200-day moving average about 42 to 43. I think worst case scenario on XRP is we catch the golden pocket at around 39 to 40. So.
Good stuff. Well, we're going to go ahead and transition. It's 9:38, and we got some things we got to talk about over here, Piper. So we're going to skip the market open for today, guys. Just so you guys know, it's a little green. We'll talk more about that tomorrow, though, on the Friday show.
Someone did ask, what is the 200-day moving average at for Bitcoin right now? It's at like 23.8, 23.750.
Yeah, but it's climbing. By the time we meet it, it's going to be closer to 24. But yeah, yep. That's a good question there.
Yep.
What I want to start off with, and we're going to stay here on the chart, but has anyone heard this story? And I'm sure a lot of you have. Have anyone heard the story yesterday? Like oh no, Tether is depegging. It is going to crash and burn and die, and we're all going to lose out.
Are we skipping the headlines? Is that what
we're skipping the headlines here. Let's go ahead and go to my screen here, Piper. I want to show everybody the depegging of Tether. It's not even as bad as what it was last week. Like literally, we depegged harder last week than we currently have depegged on Tether. We've depegged to the upside here more recently, back in March. When you look historically, I mean, back here we have a massive depegging back in May of last year, a big one back here in November. When you really zoom out, this really wasn't that big of a deal here, guys. But what gets kind of cool here, we're going to jump around here for a second. Let's just even kind of focus on the fact that this was a major push. Everyone's trying to promote this thought and like push this thought like, hey guys, Tether is depegging. Well, today we're going to be looking at Twitter here a good amount because there's been some interesting stuff here. Miles Deutscher, I think that's how it's pronounced. Could be wrong. Posted a very interesting picture this morning. And his reference here is fun fact, Stablecoin FUD often marks local bottoms. And he went ahead, he just talked about the bottoms of this bear market. But of course, he posted right here, Bitcoin Archive, hedge funds have targeted Tether right there, right before a nice little rally back up to 25,000. Lunar Crush, David Gostian, I don't know. Last week, Tether FUD was the highest been in 6 months. That was the bottom of this bear market. Once again, Lunar Crush. So much conversation going on USDC depeg this week. This was USDC. Shabacle, bam. Literally on the wick the day we came down to 19,000 or so, and then we shot back up. So, not saying with 100% certainty that means that we're going to bounce here, but historically, when we get this kind of FUD out here about stablecoins, that actually marks a bottom. Interesting thing. We're going to keep looking at that. Let's jump to a story here. Even though we're going to bounce over on Twitter, let's look at a story here, starting off with what Jerome Powell said yesterday. I grabbed this story, even though the headline is just crypto prices plummet again. Here's why. Because I wanted to make sure you guys know the details of what happened yesterday. Of course, we had a pause.
Tim, you're having some mic issues there, brother.
Am I really? You guys, do you hear me? Piper?
Yeah, I'm having mic issues from you.
Would it be a show without? Let me reload.
There we go. I think you're good.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Am I back?
Yeah, but we dropped. Oh, we're live. I think we're live.
I can't tell. Someone says they hear fine. I don't know. Know.
Okay,
If you
nope,
hear
we're
me though,
good.
Piper, we're good.
We're good. Continue on.
All right,
I think
let's keep moving on here. So we got the. This is great.
Story here, starting off with.
Yep, we're good.
There we go. All right, we are investing bros. There we go. He paused the rates, and that should have been bullish, but it was his remarks afterwards. We told you this before. More important than what is decided by the Fed is what Jerome Powell says from the podium. And the thing that you need to know why is crypto crashing today is because of this. 12 of the 18 Fed members anticipate 2 more rate hikes this year. That's what comes out when we're talking about that 5.6. He suggested the medium terminal rate raised to 5.6 came in more hawkish than expected. Whew. This is rough. Then you come back over here to Twitter. I pinned it this morning from Watch.Guru. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell says it could be a couple of years before interest rate cuts. So not only, guys, are we going to be seeing another rate hike, maybe 2 more, getting us up to 550 to 575. He's anticipating at this point that we could go up to 2 years without a rate cut. Let's go to Brocam real quick here, Piper, and let's kind of break this down. What our thoughts are, what our opinions. My question for you, Piper, I want to start off. Do you think that Jerome Powell is acting and speaking with honesty and best intentions for the dollar? Or do we think that this is a continued collaboration of corruption against the likes of crypto? They're seeing the threats from other countries and the threats from crypto to destabilize the dollar, de-dollarize. What is it? I can't remember what the exact expression is there. Do you think this is actually the American government's way of trying to fend off crypto from taking power away from the dollar?
I'm gonna go on the fence and say he's straddling a little bit of both sides. Because I think that, doing what he's doing to protect the dollar would also be pretty much doing what he's doing to protect the dollar. On both sides of that fence, right? Whether it be, because of protecting it from crypto or protecting it from itself and the American consumer not understanding the supply and demand and how it works. So I would say that it's probably more to do with the inflation rate, but it doesn't hurt him at all to get a little extra kick at the crypto, at the bad crypto, So
Yeah, maybe. So this is my take on it. I made a short about it last night, Piper. It's really hard to know where the collusion is coming and where it stops and where it's going. But this is what we do
Exactly.
know. We do know factually. We just within the last month decided to raise the debt ceiling. What does that mean? We're going to be printing more money, right? Jerome Powell in the last FOMC meeting said that's not his decision, but he urged Washington to raise the debt ceiling, meaning he knew that they're going to be printing more money.
Yeah, but they're always going to
Yes,
raise the debt ceiling.
but my whole point is they did it because they're it's not raise the debt ceiling and then we'll print money later. They raised that debt ceiling so they can start printing money now because Janet Yellen said if we don't do this, we're literally going to be out of money here by mid-June. And guess what?
Yep.
It's mid-June. They did that. They have been printing money because they would have been out of money by now. Then, even though they're pausing, these are marks to continue to raise rates. The reason why I'm very, very cautious about what this is, and I'm really kind of angry about what is happening here, is because this is theft. And that's what my whole short was about yesterday. The greatest robbery no one's talking about. This is theft because they're going to print more money, which does what? Makes every single dollar that is sitting in our bank accounts less valuable,
Yep.
and it's going to make everything else start costing more money. And then, so that's bad enough. It's bad enough that they're devaluing our dollar, our hard-earned value that we work for every single day. Then they're going to continue to raise rates, and they're going to hold those rates high for 2 years, which makes borrowing money very hard, which means you're not going to be able to buy a house, so you're not going to own anything. These businesses are going to start struggling. Well, guess how you make dollars as a regular individual? You go get a job in the United States from an American business that pays you. Well, if they're struggling and they can't exist, they're going to have to lay off. Millions of people will be laid off. We knew that was going to happen, but they're going to do it at the same time. They're going to make the dollar less valuable while simultaneously laying people off of work. This is literally stealing money from poor people to give it to the powerful, the more rich people. Washington needs money. Let's give them money. They can decide however much they want, and let's do it by taking the value away from poor people. It's absolutely ridiculously stupid. Don't get me wrong. I think that we need to fix inflation, but at this point, it's just about sold it for me. Not that I needed a lot of push left, Piper, but the dollar is done. And that's why I'm kind of glad seeing some of these other things that we're seeing. Go and share my screen again. It's one of these things like it, are we even proud to like be Americans anymore? Like that's a ridiculous statement because obviously I still believe at this point in time this is still the greatest country in the world, but we're very quickly trying to get rid of that claim. Justin, Kenya's president calls for African nations to ditch the US dollar for trade settlements. Literally everyone in the world is turning against us. Even allies like France are saying the dollar is done. Pipe, let's go back to Brocam here real quick. I am just fed up at this point. I'm just fed up. When we hear people say, like Ben has said this on his show, and people are thinking he's joking, he's like, well, if Biden gets voted back in, if this current administration continues to be the president, he's like, I'm leaving. I'm leaving the United States. And at first, when he said it, Piper, I was like, yeah, that's a little strong. That's a little rash, don't you think? But I'm sitting here kind of taking in all of this information and saying, that's not a ridiculous statement. And that thought, that expression of, oh, if this happens, I'm leaving the country. If this person gets voted, I'm leaving the country. That has been ridiculous for a while now. Both sides, left, right, Democrat, Republicans, they all do it when the person they don't want to win gets voted in. In this case, it's not just about, oh, it's a bad president or bad Congress. It is literally not even just about crypto. If this administration gets to go in again, and I'm talking about Biden, I'm talking about Elizabeth Warren, I'm talking about if Gary Gensler gets to keep his job, if Jerome Powell gets to keep his job, if here in 2 years, these main players are still sitting in their current seats, we're not just talking about making bad policies. We're talking about killing the dollar, killing the ability for any American to actually pursue happiness and freedom. It is going to be a place where the United States is no longer what it was founded to be. And I think leaving the country is not a ridiculous thought. I know, Piper, you're an American. You are a former military. You're a veteran. There's a lot of reasons for you to stay here in the United States. But what are your thoughts about that?
I think it actually looks a whole lot like the World Economic Forum's agenda. You will own nothing and you will like it.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely, absolutely crazy and ridiculous. Well, We got about 10 minutes left here, guys. I want to kind of dig into another big story here. And some of this we're going to kind of unpack with you guys because Piper and I were discussing this morning. We still have not gotten our head fully around what this is, but it has to do with this little company or this little exchange right here, Promethium. Have you guys heard of it? Oh, there goes my mouse bugging out again. Promethium is a very, very weird and strange thing that just came into play out of almost nowhere. And if you guys don't follow this guy, I heavily urge you guys. Adam Cochran, his just at Adams Cochran. I don't know why there's an S in there. Maybe his middle name starts with an S. Go follow him. He's doing some great work. His digging into this is pretty crazy here. We have some time. I want to read through this thread. Yes, it's a long thread, but if you've not seen it, I want to read through it with you guys, and we're going to take a look at what is happening here because this should scare you. The level of like what they were doing with FTX and collaborating with FTX to try to be very corrupt in how we handle crypto. It's looking like because of the failure of FTX, Gary Gensler had to find a new sidekick, and Promethium might just be that one. So let's read through this. Adam Cochran said, baby, the Promethium story gets even better. So they started in 2017 when they filled their Reg A Plus and aimed to raise $50 million. But they did these random lawyers. But how did these random lawyers supposedly get approval from the SEC and FINRA? Look no further than their team, including Rosemary Finelli, who worked for the New York Stock Exchange and for FINRA. All right, so this is just a photocopy of her. I think this is her like LinkedIn or something, just where she worked. John Tornator, I don't know how you pronounce that one, CBOE. So that's his little thing. CCO Joseph Zangri from the SEC. You can see his little thing. Around since 2017, this is the company. They did a Reg A Plus filing to issue a token in 2017. Have not launched their product since 2017. Have a bunch of former SEC, I think I said exchange earlier, sorry, token here. Have not launched their product since 2017. Have a bunch of former SEC and FINRA staff and suddenly appear at a hearing parroting political talking points favoring the SEC. This is their roadmap. They started back in 2017, just kind of filling you in case you get lost. We go, they have been around for a while and they keep pulling out. They raise the money and then they pull out, and they raise money and they pull out, and they keep having these new grand launches that never seem to happen. But just now that it's convenient for the SEC to have a scapegoat to say, oh, look, somebody is doing this correctly, and this justifies our lawsuit against Binance and Coinbase and calling these other coins securities. They're trying to use them, but this has been one of the most corrupt organizations that we've seen coming out of nowhere. Let's keep going on, though. Again, because we're still unpacking this. If you guys in chat, Piper, keep your eye on chat. If people see something to add to this, that I want to hear more about it, because I'm still learning this as we go. It's just breaking and people need to know about it. So keep moving on here. They scrubbed their social media from prior to 2019, which is when they got their current domain on the .com. The previous .info site is still on Wayback Machine. On that site, they say their Genesis block would be in 2019. So again, it's just lies. Like there, as we fast forward, you're going to see they claim that now 2021 is their founding, but they have history saying that they were founded back in 2017, then again in 2019, so on and so forth. If you search by year through Google, you'll notice lots of noise about them in 2017 and 2018. Then nothing for a while until the end of 2020, early 2021, where they claimed to be SEC regulated and raised $15 million. So this is one of the headlines, or this is one of the reports saying that that's what they did. That means that it got approval under Jay Clayton and not the current administration. It leaned on the commission statement of allowing broker-dealers to hold custody digital assets. But even to date, it acknowledges it can clear or settle transactions, and therefore even it can't clear. Sorry, it can't clear or settle transactions. Therefore, even though it is registered, it cannot operate. This is from a Bloomberg piece on them. So I'll let you guys, if you again follow this thread. We're gonna keep moving on though with the points that Adam is making here. Then they go silent for a few years until suddenly in late 2021 to early 2022, they hire former FINRA and SEC staff, still with no clear product. So again, they're operating, but they're not even actually doing anything because they can't. Afterwards, they suddenly get the approval they wanted, still with no operation. So again, this kind of breaks down what's happening there. Keep moving on here, though, because we got a lot of thread left here. Now layer this all with the fact that they fundraise with the Wanaxing, I don't know how you pronounce that one, a purported CCP affiliate. They raised $48 million without a product, hired former SEC and FINRA people, pay $1.5 million to Network One Financial Securities. You remember that name, not just for today's show, but for a lot of stuff. Network One Financial is a sketchy company. But what we're kind of sitting on right here, in case you guys are kind of wondering, hey, where are we at the moment? I'm getting a little lost. They're raising over $50 million with no product whatsoever, meaning they don't work. This is nothing is happening here, and yet somebody is giving them $50 million to keep doing what they're doing. We'll move on. Who is Network One Financial? A shady broker with a Chinese affiliated firm with a horrible compliance track record of more than 20 regulatory or civil actions against them. We'll talk more about that here later. Okay, I guess I made another tweet. They updated it here. It gets better. The broker that was one behind the iced tea company that pivoted to a blockchain project in 2017 as a scam, as well as another offering that was a blockchain pivot that the SEC charged for fraud. So, the SEC even back then in 2017 said that these were frauds, and later now they're supporting them as being this very upstanding business. This Long Island iced tea company, this Longfin, these are all owned by Network One Financial, of course, the company that's also backing this now new Promethium token. Keep moving on. In 2022, again, mostly quiet until they announced they've launched their ATS. They claim that their ATS support digital asset securities, including Flow, Filecoin, or as Jim Cramer likes to call Philcon, the Graph, Compound, and CeLo or Cello. I don't know which one that one's pronounced as. Of course, since none of these are securities, they can't have. All right, we'll keep moving on here because we got more to go through. I know this seems long, but trust me, you're going to be very glad that you've seen this thread. So they claim this ATS has existed for well over a year and that is integrated into Anchorage Digital Bank. He wants them to come out there, but no one has heard of it, and it supposedly now is clearing regular crypto assets via an ATS. But the statement where they claim to be offering those tokens was in 2022. The Bloomberg article from earlier where they said they don't have an offering, can't clear and settle, and hope to list assets in the future was from May of 2023. So the timeline is just literally all over the place. Keep moving forward, though. We're almost done here. So if they launched their ATS in 2022, why in 2023 are they talking about intent to launch and their hands being tied? Again, I told you guys, they've launched like 4 or 5 times now at this point, and now supposedly 2023 is their grand launching once again. Why are they suddenly showing up as congressional witnesses? Why are the tokens they listed in 2022, Filecoin, Flow, etc., many of these same tokens that the SEC has now first listed in their actions against Coinbase and Binance? There are 3 possible answers. Here we go. 1, these are plants who are being given a sweet regulatory deal in exchange for engaging in the way the SEC wanted to. By the way, guys, that's the one that I'm thinking is true, just like Gary is working with SBF. Number 2, these guys are using their SEC and FINRA connections to push an agenda to get certain assets deemed securities and for them to be the only approved player to capture the market. I'm thinking 1 and 2 are looking pretty likely here. Number 3, these guys are grifters who raised a ton of money from sketchy sources and for years have been twisting worst and progress to continue to ride the grift. I don't know which one it is, but something is rotten here with all the efforts Coinbase, Kraken, and other reputable firms have put into putting their best foot forward. It is impossible to believe this sketchy agency got the green light. Even a cursory glance shows that this is not someone you should greenlight, especially not as the first in the space. Plants, patsies, and opportunists, it's unclear, but the fact that Gensler is letting them run around with the SEC approval is a red flag. And I saw another thing from him this morning while we were live. I think Piper was doing TA during this. He showed a picture of it, though. Where is it? Is it going to be buried? Here we go. He said it even gets better, so that the hearing that they're helping the SEC kind of prove, like, oh, there is a way to regulate the SEC correctly. They don't even know what they're talking about. They're literally passing notes during the entire hearing. This is a massive red flag. And again, my hypothesis, Piper, is this the new SBF and FTX to try to help the SEC gain control and get rid of all of these more actual crypto-friendly exchanges and crypto tokens that are decentralized? What are your thoughts, Piper? I know that was a lot, and we're going to continue to unpack this over the next couple of days and weeks. What are your initial thoughts at this point?
Could they have gotten a guy that was a little less 80s porn looking there to be their front man for the new federal government's patsy?
It would be rough if he turned his face and he has this very thick mustache. That would be the nail in the coffin right there.
Dude definitely looks like he's about to go in and do a job interview for an 80s porn. Bounce, chicka bounce.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think
on a serious note, there's definitely something odd going on with all that. Like out of nowhere, no product, raising money. Like I'd love to be a fly on the wall and ask, when someone asked the people that gave money, like, what did you invest in? Like, do you
Yeah.
have any idea what you invested in? Because
Well,
that
and
would,
that's
I don't know about you, but most business people are not going to
yeah.
drop $50 million in an idea unless it was like startup idea. This isn't a startup company, guys. This
Mhm.
is a 5-year-old company, 6-year-old company. So
Well, what's crazy is they raised a little bit of money back in 2017, 2018, right? But then they get shut down by the SEC. Even this, what the company name? What did I say it was? Let me go back to my bookmarks real quick. Sorry. The Network One Financial is getting investigated by the former SEC staff for fraud, right? But then all of a sudden, this new SEC group comes in 2022, and out of nowhere, they raise $48 million, despite not having a product, despite the fact that it's very easy to go back and look at and see all of the corrupt things that they're doing for the last 5 years, and the fact that they keep saying they have a token, but they're not actually launching that token, and they can't do anything with that token. Who gave them $48 million? And I know this is going to be putting a tinfoil hat on, but what if that $48 million came from the SEC as they were preparing? Obviously, we're already deep into the XRP case. Even in 2022, there were signs that XRP was going. We knew about the Hinman files for a long time now. Is there a chance that what they did, the SEC, used $48 million to invest in this company so that they could get their scapegoat to kind of prove, like, this is what Coinbase and Binance and XRP have been saying. You have not shown us the proper way of doing this. There's been no regulation whatsoever. Are now these guys supposed to come in and be like, oh, no, we knew. Yeah, the SEC was, we're doing it the right way. They made it very clear to us so that they can get their witness to go before the judge and say that everything they've been doing has been great. That is extremely, extremely sketchy. And it's something that we have definitely got to keep our eyes on. People should not be turning a blind eye to this. And I hope that it gets a lot more light here in the next couple of days. We do got to go ahead and end the show now. I got to go upstairs. Got to get back to work. But guys, it is a crazy time. I know it is going to be tempting, especially with prices falling, for people to kind of say, you know what, I'm going to step away from crypto for a time. I'll come back when things get interesting. But I want you guys to know, and I promise you, those who stay engaged and keep doing their research and keep paying attention to charts and keep watching what's happening in the news, those are the people that when we get to the peak of the bull market, and it is coming, guys, those are the ones who will be heavily rewarded. You'll know when to get in, when to get out. Make sure you guys stay tuned day in and day out. We got one more show this week. Tomorrow, make sure you guys are here. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We're the Investing Bros, the most generous community in all of crypto. We will see you tomorrow. You guys have a great day.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.